Hey guys, sorry. Hey guys, today I'm going to do this video. Well, first of all, because I didn't do a video yesterday. Yesterday was a very chaotic day, to be honest. I didn't have time to do anything other than things that I just had to do. You know, in life you have to do some things, and I couldn't do the video, but I have a video for you this week because next week I have to do a video in Spanish, so this one is in English. So yeah, we're discussing basically discrimination within the LGBTQ community, and I think that's very important because as a community, I mean, that's a word that I don't really like because we are not really a community. We are a community in the sense that we share certain things about how we walk our paths, let's say, but it's not like lesbians and gays, I mean, homosexual men or bisexual people or non-binary people, or transgender, sorry, people have anything in common beyond that. I mean, the paths are really different. For example, a transgender person literally realizes who they are and they transition towards that. I mean, physically and spiritually as well. A bisexual person doesn't really have to do that. A homosexual man doesn't really have to do that. I mean, they have to do some transformations in their lives, and adjust certain things, but it's not as massive as that. That's another different thing. And non-binary people also have really similar processes than, for example, transgender people without the physical transformation, unless some people do, which also happens because everyone is different. And that's why I think straight people mostly don't really understand where LGBT people are coming from, because they think it's just one thing. And there's variations on that one thing, and it's not only that, like, gay men like men. That's not really everything that being gay is. It encompasses so much more. And of course, what we all have in common is that we are a minority, and I don't care how many Netflix shows or whatever it is are released into the wild. We are a minority. We are a little percentage of the population of the earth, which is 8 billion. We are just a fraction, tiny fraction of those 8 billion. Most people are straight. That's not a mystery. That's not something that we can doubt. That theory that says, oh, we are all bisexual or we are all pansexual, that's a lie. That's something that people have said in order to aspire to something else. And I do think that in time, with the openness of people and people realizing that, you don't really have to restrain yourself, I think more people are going to come out in the future, and there will be more LGBT people in the future for sure. But we won't be even half of the population, even in 50, 100 years. We have to realize that, and we have to realize we are a minority. A minority means we're not in control of the world. We're not in control even of the laws and that affect us. And that's why we need allyship. That's why it's so important to have allies. And the main allies we have to have are the ones within our community, the LGBTQ plus community that encompasses so many types of people, again, so many types of people that have lived different lives. And that, I mean, even among gay men, there are abysmal differences between each other, because there are, gay men that have wealth, for example, and that's really different from someone who is raised or growing up in poverty. That's a different thing. It's like a transgender person being born in wealth or in poverty. I mean, do you really think it's the same thing? It isn't, because I'm not saying that wealth comes with acceptance. That's not really the point I'm trying to make. The thing I try to make is that when you have wealth, maybe you won't be accepted by people, but you have more possibilities in your life. Maybe it will be a little bit easier for a transgender person in wealth to transition, and maybe not to be accepted, but to create a proper path. But a person, a transgender person that has no money, no income, no anything in life, it will be quite hard. It will be even harder than it already is. So we have to make allies within our own community. And sometimes that appears to be very difficult because in our own communities, we have racism, we have bigotry, and we have politics kind of meddling in the way. I mean, which is kind of wild because I somehow I think LGBT people are mostly leaning to a leftist, let's say, kind of thinking, but that's not really always the case. And there are some LGBT people that support parties around the world that don't really support them, which is something really, I have to say, really difficult to understand. But again, to each their own, because some of these gay people that support, for example, the Republican Party, of right wing parties in Europe or in Latin America or wherever they are, it's because they think that LGBTQ rights are like done, like we have them. So let's discuss jobs, let's discuss wealth, health, let's discuss immigration, let's discuss all these other things that they think are, more important. And, you can make an argument for that. That's, of course, a lengthy discussion. But again, in politics and in life, I think you have to put yourself first, to be honest. I mean, it's really cute when people put others first, but those others are also your brothers and sisters in the gay community, in the bisexual community, in the LGBTQ plus community. And that plus is really important because it encompasses everyone and everyone basically that feels that they could be included. I think that plus in the LGBT plus community is really important because it really welcomes everyone, and that's great. But we should actually welcome everyone. I mean, gay people bashing transgender people or bisexual people not being recognized as a group, an actual group, or non-binary people also kind of non-existent in various aspects of gay life, let's say, of LGBT life, is appalling because we are all in a community and we should all be protecting each other. And it's also kind of awful when you see that in the gay community, only gay men, only homosexual men, there is hatred. From white people to black people, from black people to Asian people to, and it's like, why? I mean, there are many men, white men, that don't like black men, and it's like, wait a minute, you're supposed to be gay, so why don't you like that? They're men. I mean, it doesn't make any sense, and it's racism. And it's like, yeah, the fact that you are gay or for is like when if you are a woman, that doesn't make you a good person, a nice person. It doesn't make you anything. I mean, I think that we have in our heads that people that have suffered are just good people, and that's a lie. Everyone that has suffered is not a good person. Some people that suffer are fucking assholes, and you have to realize that, and you have to really think about that in order for people to move forward. Because yes, there are people that maybe they're not the best people to have around, but you have to take them into account because they are a real thing. They're there, and that's what you have to do when you engage with other people in the LGBTQ plus community. Yes, maybe you don't get transgender people, maybe you don't understand where they come from, maybe you don't really want to engage with them in sexual activities, which is all fine, because that, I don't think it's hatred not wanting to fuck someone. I mean, that's stupid. But you have to respect them. That's the key of the whole discussion. You have to respect each other, because if you don't respect each other, that brings that opens the door for them not to respect you, and of course you're going to be pissed because no one is respecting you. So I think that's the important part of this discussion, that respect is essential, and not only respect, but recognition of that person being there. Because respect, I mean, everyone can have respect. I mean, respect, can happen and it's very cool, but you have to recognize the person. You have to say, okay, I recognize you are there, I recognize your rights and your needs are valid, and I respect you, and that's it. You don't have to engage further with that. I mean, I think that when they say LGBTQ plus community, people think that we are all hugging each other and fucking each other or something, and that's not the point. I mean, everything in the LGBTQ plus, mainly by straight people, is so sexualized, and I think sex is everything, because we talk about gender and we talk about things like that, and we are a little bit more frank about our experiences in sex. But that doesn't mean we want to fuck everything and we want to fuck each other. That's not the point. The point is that we accept each other and we are a little bit more open about some things that other people might not be as open, and that's the perfect opportunity to respect each other. For example, let's say I'm a white guy and I'm not into black men. That can happen. You're not into some kind of men. You don't like taller men. You don't like chubbier men. That's fantastic, but that doesn't have to bring hate. You can also care about those people, those other people that maybe you don't want to have sex with. You have to care for them and respect them and recognize them. If you do all that, but you say, I'm not into having sex with trans people, but I am totally behind you in the rights. I want you to have everything that you want. I want you to realize your dreams. That's valid. I think that's great. I mean, it's because it's not hating. It's not saying, oh, you fucking, monster or whatever, because that is hate. And that is unacceptable. And that's something that many LGBT people are doing to each other. It's saying like, oh, they're so weird and they're so, they don't belong here. It's like when in Drag Race, people were like, oh, there are trans women here. What the fuck is happening? And now there's an actual woman in this. What is happening? And it's like, who cares? First of all, who cares? It's TV. Like, who cares? But second of all, everyone is welcome. It's drag, so everyone can do it. Physically, anyone can do it. So just calm down and let people have their life. And that's another thing. Just let people live. Let people do whatever they think it's necessary to realize themselves fully, because that's their experience. And you cannot be an obstacle in someone else's path, in someone else's life, because it's not fair. Would you want that for yourself? Would you want that you want someone to interfere in whatever you want to achieve in life, or whatever? You don't, of course. And so why would you be that for someone else? It doesn't make any sense, right? So let's try to understand a little bit on each other. And I actually think the best thing to do here is to educate ourselves on other people. Let's understand each other. Let's understand what it is to be pansexual, transgender, bisexual, a lesbian, whatever it is, and explore those different facets inside of each group, let's say. And then we can understand each other. Then we can say like, oh, that's great, I'm interested, I think it's very interesting and I want to know more. Or maybe you're not really that interested, but you can respect the reality that is happening, because that's something that people are not doing nowadays, accepting reality. And we have to do that, because if you don't accept what is, you cannot create anything. Basically, you cannot evolve from that. And the human aspiration normally is to evolve beyond things that are maybe not suitable to everyone. So let's try to make that happen. And that's it for the video today. Thank you so much for watching. Please comment down below whatever you think about what I said right here. Of course, also like this video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much. Goodbye.